Hi guys, Miss Bean again. So today we are going to be doing some practice with long division. All right, so go ahead, get a piece of paper, a pencil, whatever you can, and I want you to go ahead and write down 504 divided by 12. Now remember, this number is our dividend, so this is the number that we are splitting equally or sharing, and this is our divisor, so this is the number of equal groups, people, or pieces that we have. So a good scenario for this might be there were 504 cookies. We wanted to split them between 12 people equally. How many cookies would each person get? So the first thing we need to do, and this is what I have my kids do, is cover up all place values but one for our dividend. So I'm going to cover up my ones place and my hundreds or tens place. All right, now I want to think, how many times does 12 fit into 5? Well, 12 does not fit equally into 5, so we would say nothing. So in that case, we have to move over a place value. So I'm going to uncover one place value. How many times does 12 go into 50? All right, so we should think that 12 goes into 50 4 times. Okay, so I'm going to put a 4 up here. And with this, you might have to do some experimenting. So you might have to come over here and do, 12 times 3. Well, 12 times 3 is 36. I can fit another group of 12 in there, so I'm going to try 12 times 4. All right, well, that is 48. 48 definitely fits into 50. And I can't add another 12 because then it would be larger than 50, so I'm going to stick with 48. Now, I was covering up one place value, so that means I have to make that 4 10 times greater. Because this isn't just 50, it's 504. So that is now a 40. So 12 times 40, I'm still going to use that 48. I just have to remember to make it 10 times greater, just like I did for my number up here. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and subtract. 4 minus 0, 4. 8 minus 0, I can't do that. I have to borrow from the 5. 5 becomes a 4. The 0 becomes a 10. 10 minus 8 is 2. 4 minus 4, nothing. Okay, so now I'm going to start over. I'm going to cover up all but 1. 12 does not fit equally into 2, so I'm going to uncover my one place value. There's nothing over here, so I don't have to cover anything. How many times does 12 go into 24? Well, if we know our math facts, we should know that 12 times 2 is 24. So since I'm not covering up anything with my hand, I don't have to add any place values or make anything 10 times greater. So 12 times 2 only is 24. Now I'm going to go back. 12 times 2 is 24, and I can go ahead and subtract. 24 minus 24 is 0. Now what I need to do is come up to these numbers, and I need to add them together. So 40 plus 2 is 42. So that is my quotient. But I'm not done yet. Oh, and I'm sorry, you can't see that. There. So what I need to make sure I do now is double check my work. So I'm going to grab my different colored pen, and I'm going to come over here a little bit, and I'm going to double check. So that means I need to take my 42 times 12, and I need to make sure that I get 504. Okay, so when we're doing standard algorithm for multiplication, we do ones times the ones. 2 times 2 is 4. Ones times the tens. 2 times 4 is 8. Drop my 0. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 4 is 4. I add these two numbers together, and I get 504. So that matches my dividend, so it means that my quotient of 42 is correct. Woohoo! Good job. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and do another one. Now this time we have a 4-digit number. Just add my comma there. So go ahead and do it along with me. And then that way, if you get confused, you can pause the video, you can rewind, you can go back, just so that you make sure that you get the steps. And so it'll be the same steps for any division problem that you are using long division for, no matter how many numbers we have in our dividend. Okay, so just like we did last time, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to cover my last 3 place values. And I can even do that with my eraser. Okay, so first, does 15 fit into 1? Well, the answer to that should be no. So I'm going to move over, uncover another place value. Does 15 fit into 11? Almost, but no, it doesn't. All right, so we're going to move over one more place value. Now I know 15 has to fit into 114, but I'm just not sure how many times. So that's when we come on down here and we, do trial and error. We figure it out. So I'm just going to pick a number, maybe 15 times 6. All right, I know 6 times 5 is 30. And I know 6 times 1 is 6, plus 3 is 9. Okay, well 90 is less than 114. Ooh, and I know that 114 is more than 15 away from 90. So maybe if I add another 15, okay, 105. 105 is still less than 114, so I can use that. So I multiplied by 6, and then I added another group of 15. So 15 goes into 114, we'll say 7 times, because that 6 plus 1 extra group of 15 is 7. Now, I was covering up one place value, so I'm going to make it 10 times greater. Now remember, it's okay if you don't use the greatest number of 15s. So for instance, if I wanted to put 6, I could. You know what? Let's go ahead and do that. That way you guys can see the process. Okay, so once again, we're going to go 15 times 6. We said that was 90. Okay, and I was covering up one place value. So that means it needs to be 10 times greater. So what is 90 times 10? Well, it should be 900. So that is what I'm going to subtract over here. And remember, I covered up those 2 place values. So that's why it's now 900, because I had to make it 10 times greater to get it back where it needed to be, because that 6 is 10 times greater. All right, 0 minus 0 is 0. 4 minus 0 is 4. 1 minus 9, we can't do that, so we have to borrow from the neighbor. That becomes a 0. And then this becomes 11. 11 minus 9 is 2. Okay, so now we're starting over. 15, does it fit into 2? No. Does 15 fit into 24? Yes. How many times without going over? Well, we know that 15 times 2 is 30. 30 is too big, so we're just going to have to multiply 15 times 1. And I'm covering up one place value. So that 1 is actually going to be a 10. All right, now 15 times 10 is 150. So I'm going to subtract. 0 minus 0 is 0. 4 minus 5, I can't do that. I have to borrow from the neighbor. 4 becomes a 14. 14 minus 5 is 9. 1 minus 1 is 0. All right, start over. Does 15 fit into 9? Nope. But it does fit into 90, and actually we already know how many times if you remember what we did earlier. So if we come over here to the side, 15 times 6 is what it should be. But let's go ahead and double check. So it should be 5 times 6 is 30. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 3 is 9. So 90 matches 90. So we need to multiply that 15 times 6. And I wasn't covering up anything, so I don't have to make my 6 10 times greater. It can just come up there and be a 6. All right, 15 times 6 is 90. Subtract, that equals 0. So if we come up here, and if I add 60 plus 10, I get 70. 70 plus 6 is 76. All right, that is my quotient, but remember we need to double check. So I'm going to come back here and I'm going to multiply. All right, looks like we have some space over here. So I need to make sure that 76 times 15 equals 1,140. Okay. So, starting with the ones, 5 times 6 is 30. Put the 0, carry the 3, or the 30. 5 times 7, 35, plus 3, 38. Now I don't have a hundreds place, so I can go ahead and put that 3 right there. Remember, I need to drop a 0. All right, tens times the ones. 1 times 6 is 6. 1 times 7 is 7. I don't have a hundreds place, so I can go ahead and add these numbers together. 0 plus 0 is 0. 8 plus 6 is 14. Carry the 1. 3 plus 7 is 10. Plus 1 is 11. 1,140. And if we come up here, that matches with my dividend. So we are good to go. And that means that my quotient of 76 is correct.